In the world of movie making, it is important that movies make money. How do they make money? By making more money than they spend. It's an interesting thing. Disney releases movies all the time, and they make a lot of money, except they don't make any profits. And it seems that Warner Brothers is currently beating them at the box office, maybe by all metrics. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and guess who's here with me? It's WDW Pro and Vash Guy. Guys, are you ready to talk about the wonder of movie economics?
I think we are. No, I actually can't wait to get into this discussion because it's so profound. You see all these big releases from Disney, all the marketing spend, oh, it's so splashy. But then when you actually get to the brass tacks of it all, oh, it seems like Warner Brothers is maybe beating Disney to the punch on multiple metrics. And like you said in your intro, Jonas, maybe in all, very interesting. Can't wait to get into it.
Gentlemen, I believe I've stepped into the twilight zone. I don't believe what you're selling, Jonas. This is snake oil. Sir,
Yep. Well,
I was told that David Zaslav was a bumbling moron, an ignoramus, according to Cracker Barrel statistics and the ways they categorize intelligence levels. Jonas, are you trying to trick me into believing that David Z over at Warner Brothers, the head honcho there that Hollywood hates, that he somehow stumbled into defeating the mousy messiah himself, Bob Iger at Disney? Are you?
I would say that he didn't stumble. I would say that he deliberately moved forward step by step until, with everyone shouting at him that he's doing it wrong, until here we are. And we are going to start with a little bit of baloney, though, because it's not baloney because it was inaccurate when it was released, but it's baloney because it's no longer accurate. Studio by studio, summer market share, the box office haves and haves nots. Maybe that could have been said better. Disney stayed number one as Warner's roared back to life. Universal remained steady as ever, and streamers pulled off a big coup.
I'm just glad you said coup and not coupe.
Well, they don't drive coupes in F1. They drive Formula One. Hey, Pro, before we get to these numbers, what is the strategy for Disney when they release a big box office, like a big blockbuster movie, and they don't make any money at it? Why would they try to do something like that over and over again?
Well, you see, Jonas, there's this little thing called woke. And it took over Disney for a while, might still be there, and these things have been in production for a wee bit. And what they did is they gender swapped, race swapped everything, and tried to aim for turning boy brands into girl brands, and now they're living with it. Well, that doesn't explain Snow White, but it explains everything else. Snow White is its own form of monster.
That's very true. There's also another customer that Bob Iger specifically is trying to please, and it's not even that woke mob. Let's go down here. We can read all of this. I'm not saying this is fluff. I think it's probably a well-written article.
We love Pam.
McClintock, yeah, she does a fantastic job.
Pam, you're great.
Go right down here is, by the way, Joseph Kosinski hitting on all cylinders again. Can't wait to see the sequel to his Tron movie coming out over there at Disney. The haves and haves not. Disney maintained its lead in summer market share thanks to Lilo and Stitch, but the toast of the town was Warner Brothers. Look at this right here. I see right here $2.12 billion for Warner Brothers and the Warner sister. And then over here at Disney, $2.2 billion that they have made at the total box office. Look how close all of this is right here. The yellow is the domestic, the black is the international, and that's all of it together.
Now, if only we could see budgets as well.
Yes, exactly. And we, if you want to follow That Park Place, the website, we often talk about the budgets of these websites, as well as Caroline Reed over there at Forbes covers those budgets all the time.
Now, Jonas, slow your go for just a minute. Slow your go, because I'm not one of those fancy schmancy mathematicians or whatever they call them these days. But
magicians, yes.
Oh, that's right, magicians. But Jonas, I need you to cast a spell on me and explainify what's going on with these numbers up here, because I see that Disney has an 11 over their fancy schmancy number, 2.2 billion, and I see that Warner Brothers has a 7. Lucky 7 over their 2.12 billion. What is that, Jonas?
11 would be the number of releases for that company so far in 2025. So looking at this, Warner Brothers has 7 releases and Disney has 11 releases. Disney also considers itself to be an 11, despite the scale going from 1 to 10. Warner Brothers just over here showing up, well groomed, but still not quite a looker. But if you are wanting to make money at the box office, you'd want to go for this one that releases 7 films and makes almost as much as the one that makes that does 11 films a year. That, by the way, those things cost like $400 million a piece over there at Disney.
Well, I was just about to say that, Jonas. I mean, thankfully, a lot of that 11 is made up of smaller films, right? Smaller fare that, they just kind of kick out for far less money than maybe like big temples or. Oh, wait a minute. I think Bob Iger mandated that all releases basically be temples and have enormous budget attached to them in order to get the big profits over there at the box office. I don't know if that's a winning strategy right here.
No, I think about this, and if we eliminated for the top release from both studios, Disney for Lilo and Stitch, which, by the way, by every metric, Lilo and Stitch is a success, other than people who are looking for original fare. Warner Brothers, their biggest release is Superman by far. And it performed better than I think they were even anticipating here. But if you took Lilo and Stitch and the success of Lilo and Stitch off of this docket right here, it would look even worse for Disney at this point, because that thing raked in $1 billion and no one at Disney should have been expecting that.
Well, the thing that saved Disney last year was Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2. Outside of that, it was flop Central Station for Disney.
That's
Very good point
right there.
Now, Vash, I think you have some additional data to throw on this pile, on this slightly out of date article from Hollywood Reporter.
I do. This comes from Luis Fernando over there on X or Twitter, whichever your pronunciation. 2025 distributors race at U.S. box office crosses the $6 billion mark. Now just plus 4.5% ahead of 2024 and still negative 10.4% behind 2023 at the same point. Warner Brothers crossed the $1.6 billion mark thanks to The Conjuring Last Rites. And you can see right there, the top 5 distributors year to date. Looks like Warner Brothers is in the lead and handily with $1.68 billion, while Disney sits behind at $1.56 billion. So according to this latest post here, released just a day ago, but at the time we're recording this video, it would seem that Warner Brothers is out ahead with less releases. And when you take the total releases from both of these worldwide, these distributors, that is, Warner Brothers has far fewer films, as that chart reflected there from the Hollywood Reporter. Jonas, Warner Brothers is doing more with less, and being very budget conscious with every single step of their decision-making process along the way.
Right. I'll also throw in here that the figures from Hollywood Reporter are probably at least one weekend out of date because of The Conjuring Last Rites, which was a $50 million movie that got at least $83 million at the box office in its opening weekend, which means it's set to outperform a lot of Marvel movies at that point. In fact, I think it might be on its way to outperform Fantastic Four, which is really, really saying something when Disney says, "Oh, we bought Fox so that we could do a movie for Fantastic Four," and that thing can't even get people into the theaters. Also, another reference here to the fantastic work of Caroline Reed. The average revenue of a Phase 3 Marvel movie used to be more towards that $1.2 billion mark, and now we're looking at an average that is trending below $600 million. So this is a company that is entirely headed the wrong direction as far as movie revenues go. Can't say we only have lag metrics on budgets here, but Pro, I want to ask you, if you were to endorse the model of either one of these studios, which one would it be, and which one do you think you would have the most potential of fixing if you wanted to fix it?
Well, as I said, Jonas, I'm not one of those fancy mathematicians, but I'll put it this way. I'm not one of those fancy mathematicians, Jonas, but I'll put it this way. Warner Brothers probably is making profit. Now, I know that's a fancy word. It's part of the jargon of Hollywood that maybe folks out there might not know. But our audience, I'm sure, is aware of, quote-unquote, profit. Meanwhile, Disney, outside of Lilo and Stitch, doesn't seem to be able to find that mysterious figure known as profit. So if I'm going to pick a company that's doing better, I'm going to go with the one that, at the end of the day, they actually made money instead of losing it. Again, I don't know of any movie that Disney has done this year, except for Lilo and Stitch, that genuinely returned what was expected for the cost that was put into it. The ROI, the return on investment. What is it that you thought you were going to receive? When you look at Thunderbolts, when you look at Captain America Brave New World, Elio, Snow White, things are not all right. Freakier Friday in 4 weeks has barely more money than The Conjuring in 3 days.
It's really amazing.
That's a problem.
Yeah, $400 million budget on. Sorry, budget. Budget is a weird word to use when referring to these because budget makes it sound like you had a budget and you stayed within that budget.
Right.
How much they spent is what we're saying.
But Jonas, you asked a great question. Which one would I be able to fix easiest? The one that's not broken. Warner Brothers isn't broken right now. Now, James Gunn, I think, is starting to present some problems for them. And I'm not sure about the Harry Potter strategy completely. But the box office in general, Warner Brothers has this nailed, despite the fact that the Hollywood trades wanted originally to nail Zaslav to the wall and say, "You are not welcome here, you darn," well, not conservative, but middle-of-the-road centrist, you stinky centrist.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see how they start treating David Ellison over there at Paramount now that he's starting to make waves over there. More on that in another video at another time. Stay tuned to thatparkplace.com if you want to know more about what's going on with David Ellison. Bash, go ahead. Wrap us up.
Oh, absolutely. It seems the response from the Walt Disney Company seems to be, well, mining franchises that are, 10, 15, in some cases 30 years old? I mean, Toy Story, when it originally came out in 1995, well, 30 years, we're now in 2025, and we're talking about Toy Story 5. So it's like, I don't know where you go from here. They aren't creating a new original fare. I mean, you just mentioned Elio. That didn't go very, very well at all. They seem to be, I don't know, dead set on creating these big budget tentpoles that, they sink all their capital into, and they don't get anywhere near the returns that they once expected. I don't know where you go from here. Like Pro said, go with the one that isn't broken. Warner Brothers is not. I think they're heading in the right direction despite what the stock market actually says. And for Disney, I think they're going to be left on the outs. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. But we want to go ahead and know your thoughts over there at that Park Place comment section. Go ahead and leave a comment down below and let us know, hey, are we in the complete wrong on this? I think we got something right here. But let us know what you think. And please, if you haven't liked this video, please go ahead and like this video, share this video. That definitely helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you follow That Park Place for all the news. That should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.